All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 4, Episode 31. All right. Okay. So Kira dealt with the cat plant stand user by putting it in the attic.
But the thing is,
the son, Hayato
perceived.
Yes. Yeah. Hayato has been dealing with just the dysfunction of his family in the past, but would notice if anything dramatic started to change.
Right.
And he has noticed the changes in his father.
Well, and more specifically, he heard Kira say out loud, I would have had to kill him.
Yep. Which,
so, given telling,
given that that's something that one probably you wouldn't hear your father, even if your father was a dysfunctional, just boring guy or what have you. Yeah, this is a little bit of an escalation of that. Yes. But he encountered the stand user in the cat,
right, and he survived,
he's okay.
He fared better than Kira did.
He creatively found a way to deal with the problem. He avoided the perception checks of Kira, so
very important.
He's got some natural affinity for stealth. Maybe.
So are they going to because the last episode was very much focused on Kira? So are they going to have this episode focus on Hayato? Or, is it going to go back to the JoBros, or what?
I think the main thing is that Kira's whole situation with being in the house and stuff is slowly just building with dramatic tension. The point of where they'll release it is probably going to be through some continual buildup of environmental factors that leads towards a critical mass, and then it explodes and everything goes crazy again. And then we'll chase you.
Right. And that will be very interesting to see.
Yeah. I am worried, though, because it seems like Kira does suspect the son, though.
Oh, definitely.
So,
but for now, Hayato's safe.
For now. But yeah, Kira is also starting to blow his cover a little bit by liking shiitake mushrooms and stuff. But we still have to deal with the JoBros dealing with stand users being created out there as well.
Yep.
And as long as Kira's father is out there floating around in his card,
then that can
shooting things with the stand arrow, that's going to be a problem. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now go check out the reaction link in the description, and then make sure to come back here for the discussion. Okay, what the heck is going on format-wise here? This is either the most like in terms of context for the whole thing, either the most pointless episode because it's all set up, or it's actually the beginning of the craziest maybe end arc of the whole thing. Because what they might be setting up here, Jacob, is that the end of part 4 is all happening today. The whole thing.
That would be crazy.
Because you know what this reminds me of is FMAB. FMAB had this whole thing of the promised day.
Right.
And this is literally having all the characters, especially the kind of the kid JoBros, having them all being accosted by stand users on the same day, different place, different times. And if I was the big bad evil guy's father here in this case, I'm like, okay, they're coming close to catching Kira, and I know where Kira is, I know who he is now. I need to isolate them all so that I can connect with him.
Right, and then we can deal with them one at a time.
One at a time, or we can just leave. Think about it this way. But think about this Superfly stand. It's not really that strong of a stand. In fact, it's exceptionally weak because it doesn't attack you. It doesn't.
Right.
It's just there basically saying, hey, you come in here. I create basically this impenetrable barrier, that you can't leave from unless you do kind of a, kind of one of those moral question game exchanges here where it's like, okay.
Right. Well,
who would you put in there?
And even then, they could, if they wanted to, they could avoid it. They could destroy it and avoid it because since there's a specific angle that the force gets redirected at. At first, I thought it was something where it always goes back to the person that dished out the damage. Right. And that's why it hit them. Right. But it's not actually that. Because the stand user was able to utilize that to attack. Right. So given that, they could theoretically destroy the tower as long as they're very careful of like, okay, we're hitting it at this angle, so therefore we need to move
Maybe.
right after or something like that.
Yeah, they did show on the stat block thing, the little circle thing, that it had highest durability and everything else was basically nil in terms of its scoring.
Right, which makes sense.
Which basically means that it's really
cage,
tough to destroy.
Right, it's a cage, so it's not supposed to be destroyed, right?
Right. Now, maybe Okuyasu just is that dumb, though. Like, his space-ripping stand, which is like literally the most powerful, destructive, offensive stand we've ever seen in JoJo's ever.
And probably, like, other than maybe Vanilla Ice.
Other than Vanilla Ice,
because
maybe.
It was basically the
it's
same
basically
thing.
the same thing,
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I like the idea that Okuyasu was thinking like, Josuke, he's overconfident. He's like, we've got this. He's like, let's just tear this thing apart because we've got some badass stands.
Exactly.
So he's like, I don't need to use my full power here because that could be dangerous. And who knows what could happen?
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe if he had used it at his full power,
it might have torn him a new one.
Right, it might have torn him.
Who knows what would have happened?
Now the fact that it wasn't addressed, like you know, they could have been like, no, Okuyasu, don't do that. We don't know if you spatially disrupting it will cause that to just erase you from existence.
Right, and that might be brought up in this next episode here where he's like, Josuke, I'm gonna rip this thing in half and I'm gonna put some of it like over there. And he's like, hey, we don't know exactly how the energy is gonna be redistributed and we don't know the limits of this thing. So let's not do that.
Because the whole thing
let me try my stand and I'll reduce it back to its original components maybe. Yeah. Like, because if it's still a transmission tower, but it's also a stand, like where does that line blend,
And with the whole conservation of energy thing, now this is getting way too detailed, but
sure.
But if Josuke repairs it, what would it do?
Good question.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For science, we must experiment with our stands on this stand object thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also with Okuyasu's stand, it's kind of the one that breaks the laws of conservation because it makes matter cease to exist.
Well, no, I think it moves it, doesn't it?
No, it just erases space.
Oh, no, that was the thing they were guessing, was that they don't know. Okuyasu doesn't know if it's actually destroying it or if it's teleporting it even somewhere else.
Right, but if
there's no way of knowing.
But if it's destroying matter, well, matter
space,
right, because matter and energy are all one thing. They're just different forms of the thing, and the sum total stays the same.
Right, but it would be cool if Araki is basically saving up for Okuyasu to pull an awesome here.
That would be cool.
And it's just like Okuyasu is building up his neuron firing capacity in order to actually be able to think of something that cool. And that's the thing that separates him from the Joe Bros. Like the Joestar Joe Bros. Is that he's not quick in adapting.
Right.
But he eventually comes up with these ideas here.
And in this situation, it could be where it's perfect for him to adapt because, I mean, they have enough time.
Yeah, they have plenty of time. But maybe they don't. Here's something
because if other stuff is happening at the same time.
Right. Yeah. Here's where I want to kind of divert the discussion here, is that we've got this stand problem here. Right. And it's going to be solved.
Pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward. I love how Mikitaka or Midikata, the alien, basically is helping them out here. Yes, it's really creative. Awesome. It's very fun. I love it.
It felt very part
sense.
Two, with like the this is your plan, but I planned for your plan.
Exactly. But the idea that they are doing this format in JoJo's is very exciting for me. Having all our characters be in separate locations that we have had this part basically build up, that we know where these locations are. We know who's there, and now having all these nameless, faceless, essentially stranger stand users show up and be kind of creeping on them, it's like, okay, wait, is this a thing where they all converge at a specific location? Is this a thing where we're going to need to see some serious teaming up of like every townsperson that's had a stand ever? Like, is like Tonio gonna see Koichi like being like taken off and be like, I need to call my friends, and then everything is this kind of bit of information kind of cascading around to each other, and suddenly everyone's on the same page. We have a big team up, and then like, is this the build up towards the chain reaction of everything ending, basically?
I don't know,
because it feels like it should be.
Yeah, it definitely could be. And Yeah, it definitely could be, and I'm very excited to see how they do it. And that could be a way to avoid. It's like the way this is set up. I feel like is not just great as an idea for how to have a big conflict in a story, but specifically for JoJo's and how it works, because the episodic nature of these stand users, right, that they face, and a lot of the times it's not something that needs to be resolved violently because they're not necessarily an enemy. It's just someone that gets added to the town, right?
Sure.
It's great. Awesome.
Yeah.
With the whole thing of the Kira's father going around and making stand users, that puts it more into the light of these are specifically people that need to be defeated, right?
Yep.
So how do we make it so that it isn't just like a, episodic, like, and like, basically, how do we make it not cut the tension of chasing Kira, right? Well, what if we have a bunch of them happening all at the same time? That way you have a reasoning for, one, cutting to specific characters dealing with their stand because they're separated, right? It's a tactical thing done by the enemy, right? And then at the same time, you're basically making it so that since it's happening at the same time, you don't get this sense of like needing to wait to finally get to the important stuff because the important stuff is already here. It's just
good point,
taking up more space.
I got you.
If that makes sense. And personally, the stand that I am most excited to see how that one is resolved is the one with Josuke's mom.
Josuke's mom, yes.
It's going to be so awesome.
Yes!
Like,
oh my god, yes.
Because
Tomoko's her name, and just the idea that when Angelo, like D'Angelo, when Angelo was like trying to do the whole, what was it like? Was it like he was a milk deliverer or whatever or something? And she's just like, this one has a hole in it. Do I need to talk to your manager in order to like figure out what's the deal here? Why are you screwing up our deliveries so much? And he's just like, like she's so confident. And the thing is, he was a murderous killer. Like he could have killed her easily. But the thing is that she was so socially adept. Like she's spitting Joestar level, just like digs at him. And he's like, I'm a creeping like guy. I'm not used to dealing with people, so her confidence is actually like making me nervous, and I'm nervous because I don't know what the Joe Bros can do, and also so he's like, I gotta go,
Also, the idea that she's on her home turf.
Oh yeah,
right. And I could
you come into my house.
Yeah, you come into my house.
You come into my house.
Like it's got to take a special caliber of person to be able to raise a JoJo. Think about that for a second,
and then deal with one running out on you, leaving you with the kid.
Yeah, like,
and she's still kicking. Like she's got some spunk in her. Like,
oh man,
let's give some shout outs in the comments for Tomoko. Like she's
and just badass moms in general.
Well, but the thing is like it's been a while since we've had like. Yes. A really good, I would say, female character in JoJo's. This is like part 2, I think, was the last time we had.
Yukiko is
Yukiko is fine,
and she has her moments for sure.
Totally.
But
I miss the Lisa
the Lisas,
like vibe, and Tomoko gives me Lisa vibes, but with less, I would say,
more realism.
Yeah, more realism, less grace, and trying to be perfectly poised.
Well, exactly. Like Lisa was basically like
a bit too perfect, almost.
Well,
like
she was so rule of cool.
Ah, right.
And the rule of cool absolutely worked. But I feel like Tomoko is the rule of cool within like the everyday person, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like nah.
Yeah, these bastards took her dad.
Yeah. You better run.
I want to see her basically play mind games with a stand user trapped in her house. That would be a hilarious spin on the whole thing. Okay. And before we go too in depth on this. Okay,
one last thing. So imagine the stand user basically gets the idea that they're a bit out of their depth. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. Right?
No.
And then suddenly the door opens and menacing comes out from the doorway. and then Tomoko steps in the shadows, like she steps out of the shadows, and then like that. I would just love to see that happen at some point, to have the menacing be not something that like for the stand user, but for Tomoko. That would be so wonderful. That would just be amazing.
It'd be great like to see that she's like thinking, oh, clearly this is a home invasion type situation.
Right.
So she just leaves. And this guy's just going to sit in here and wait all day for her to come back. and she just
and
chills
she comes
over
back with Jotaro or something.
Well, because her father was a cop, and she just sits over at the police station and she's filling out stuff, and she's like, yeah, so there's probably someone in my house. Josuke's not there and stuff. Once you have enough people, can I get about half a dozen of you to come home with me?
Sure.
And meanwhile, he's just probably sitting in there and stuff. She's like, I noted all this. She realized, she shows off her passive perception of like 25, not Jotaro level, but like pretty close. And she lists all these things that were like evidence, and we're just like, oh my god, how is she so good? And then like, this guy's just waiting there, like drumming his, hands on the table. He's just like, oh, what's the deal? Like, they said you'd be here. And then suddenly, like, the cops are like, we've had the place surrounded. And he's just like, wait, what?
Another thing, now that maybe this is...
But can we go to
something? Yeah, okay, cool.
Because this format, this whole, the idea of July 15th being this special day, what are your thoughts surrounding, like, what it means beyond... just the idea of them all doing things simultaneously? Like, what other reason could they have for that?
Well, I think, so anytime you're trying to basically divide and conquer, right? They've divided the enemy right now. Now they need to conquer. I don't think a lot of these stand users are necessarily for the purpose of defeating their enemies, like, or at least Superfly certainly isn't, right?
Gotcha. But why the format more so?
From like a meta perspective, or from the characters'
from
perspective?
A meta perspective. Why are we doing this from a standpoint of like more than just having it be the divide and conquer thing?
I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward, and we kind of talked about it. But the whole idea of just having it be it's way more epic than doing them all separate, for one. Right, and it gives some reasoning for why they're dealing with just the one character rather than others, right? Because like in the case of the I forget the name of the stand, but the motorcycle stand, right? It was very much a thing of like calling in everyone else and trying to get other people to be helping out, right?
It was like Highway Star. Or something
That was a situation where it's trying to get other people to help out. Now in that situation it was very clever because you had to be moving fast, right?
Okay.
And because you were moving fast, you couldn't really get other people to help you out.
Right.
Not really. And it started out with someone helping each other out, people out, and then suddenly they got taken out, right? In this situation, you have a reason for people to be on their own. You have an element of mystery because you don't know what the bad guys are planning exactly, right? And there's an idea that because they're all happening at the same time, and this could potentially be the finale or some, part of the finale.
Yeah, that's the meta thing.
You could have the good guys lose in a couple of them.
Okay.
Right?
So the meta thing is that the good guys can now lose a lot of these encounters.
Right.
Okay. So then what's the next logical step from there then? If you have a lot of these encounters, we win some, we lose some.
Right.
What's the next meta step from there?
Well, I don't know about meta steps.
Because wouldn't there be a possibility that they just end it? Like they end the day? Like how does this day end is basically what I'm meaning.
Well, what I would say is probably most likely is that at the end of this day, Kira will be revealed.
Oh,
okay. And that could happen. That is basically what my guess is what the minbar is. Now,
gotcha.
Like if it ends and the part isn't over, right?
Right.
Okay. But
gotcha.
I could also see something happening, and this would be kind of terrifying. And maybe this is more of like a tactical thing of what I would do if I was the enemy. And granted, they did say, like, the dad was talking about how it was to distract them from, like, to basically harass them while they're trying to find Kira so that, like, to slow them down or something, not necessarily to take them out. But if I was in this situation and I was the dad, is I would basically say, okay, I've split them up. They're all distracted. They'll be busy. And maybe we just grabbed Koichi. We'll take them out one by one.
Okay.
And
so we probably being who?
Killer Queen.
Queen. Kira.
Yeah, Kira and whatever other stand user he's working with. Now, probably not. I don't think that's going to happen. But But if I were to think about in this situation, right, with the divide and conquer, you want to divide them, and then you want to focus on a smaller group so that you can take it out because you can't take them all out together, right?
Okay.
And that would be pretty terrifying if suddenly, and it doesn't have to continue, and they don't have to actually kill off any of the Joe Bros or whatever.
Sure.
But if they have something where Koichi is, kidnapped, like you were saying, and then suddenly, he's taken to somewhere out of the way, and then it's this stand user and Kira or something like that, and it's like, okay, you're done. And then they could do some sort of rescue where Jotaro comes in or something like that, because there are some characters that they haven't introduced of like how they're being affected on this day.
Well,
but
it felt like they hit every one of the Jobros. So here's the thing that I find a little bit interesting. Jotaro wasn't targeted,
right?
But Jotaro is investigating. Now, Kira and Father almost made contact, but there was a point in that the father realized that the kid, in this case, he doesn't know that it's the son, but the kid spying on him, so he doesn't make actual contact with Kira. Here's something that I find interesting. Sure. I don't think the dad is actually going to directly involve Kira.
Okay. Doesn't want to blow his cover.
I don't think he wants to blow his cover. I think his main thing is he's trying to help his son in the best way that he can. But all the stand users that they've got here, they haven't really done anything else detailed and specifically giving like insight into them other than what they're doing with Okuyasu and Josuke.
Right.
They're actually wanting to resolve these, I think, more or less one at a time, it seems like.
Well, right, because they can't have them all going at once. That'd be a bit too much.
Right, but they showed extremely innocuous things surrounding Kira, Hayato, and
Koichi.
No, Koichi got abducted, basically, as far as I'm concerned. But are surrounding like Jotaro, basically. Like Jotaro, we just know that he's focused on the investigation, but we didn't see him really encounter anyone or anything like that.
Yeah.
But Kira's at his workplace, kind of set up here. Yeah. Hayato's at school. What I think they're basically saying is that over the course of the school work day schedule, they will be busy with their own things. But during that time, all the Jobros will be running around doing things, dealing with the father.
Gotcha. That's why they're the ones being focused on.
Right. Once their work, school schedule or whatever is done, those two are going to have a converging meeting. And that's where maybe some sparks will fly in terms of like danger for Hayato or for Kira, where he's going to have to basically make some tough decisions or get accidentally revealed.
Okay.
Because Rohan came really close to being like, wait a minute, that guy looks familiar to someone I took a picture of earlier. Because wasn't it
Well, he took pictures of basically all of them.
Right, but there was a point where they were looking at images of like everyone.
Yeah, all the businessmen from that area,
right?
Yeah.
And Kira was one of them.
Right. But he just doesn't know which one is Kira.
Right, but the idea that he saw a picture of Hayato, knows his name now, and showed him looking and filming specific men, and one of them was Kira, who he could cross-reference with his previous thing there.
Right.
So he's like a few steps, a couple steps from figuring the whole thing out.
He could straight up just go to the house. He could, and granted, he has the stand user he needs to deal with.
Right.
But yeah, Rohan could basically
bust
crack
this whole thing wide open in like 2 or 3 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. I just love that we are in this setup here. It's probably not going to be just a 2-parter, which I don't think it has to be a 5-parter or anything. But the idea that this day means more than just the immediate conflicts of one stand user is exciting.
Because they haven't even resolved the Superfly in this one episode.
Yeah, they haven't.
And there's many other things that need to be resolved. So
So we just have to look forward to that, I guess. Yep. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us about these stories, about anime in general, or you can also talk with Jacob about his book.
Yes. The sci-fi novel Battle Lines is still available for order on Amazon. The link is in the description below, so go check it out.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.